Here it's Jenny Hamill and Elex Michaelson were in Washington yesterday.
They'll never forget this moment.
No.
Sure.
All right, let's go to Elex now. Elex, we kind of have been looking at some of your snapshots, but we're also curious about what did we not see on TV yesterday?
Well, one thing you didn't see was just how nice people were. There was this great era of goodwill amongst the crowd. If people started to get too pushy or things like that, people would say that's not what Obama would do. That's not what today is all about. So at least to the diehards who would stand out in 20-degree weather for him, Obama's message has gone through. Another interesting thing was they weren't so civil towards the president and the Republicans. Apparently you could not hear this on TV. I went back and watched the footage, but when President Bush and President Cheney were announced, the boos from the crowd were overwhelming, which some might say was disrespectful towards the office of the presidency. And also then a chant of sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, hey, 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 goodbye, kept going on and on as the president walked up. But even more loud boos were heard, not for John McCain, who was actually cheered by the crowd, but for Senator Joe Lieberman, who got the biggest boos of all. Which was interesting. Also interesting, the dynamic of that big of a crowd. When a cheer would start at one end, it was like the world's largest game ever of telephone, where it would start maybe at the Lincoln Memorial. By the time it got 1.5 million people up, the chant would be very different and come much later. But it was an extraordinary kind of lesson in crowd dynamics watching everybody out there yesterday, among many other things, and to see people so excited.
Well, it's obvious that these are Mr. Obama's supporters that are there for the inauguration. But again, it sort of illustrates the deep divide between the two parties still and the challenge that Mr. Obama has in trying to get everybody to work together.
Right, and we talked with our congresspeople about that concept because the first issue, as you just mentioned, is the economy. Even though President Obama had run for a year talking about how Iraq and getting his Joint Chiefs together will be his first order of business to get people out of Iraq, it's actually his second order of business today because first is his meeting with his economic team about this stimulus plan. And there's a divide amongst the parties on that. The Democrats feel that pumping $1 trillion of stimulus into the economy is going to be a needed boost. And Congressman Filner, the Democrat, said that it's something that California needs because we're in such tough times right now and the state is running out of money and San Diego is in such a bad deficit that maybe this will be that kind of temporary Band-Aid that we need right now. But Congressman Bill Bray, Congressman Issa, and others on the Republican side that represent us in San Diego say not so fast, that this is the wrong approach and that just pumping more money out of Washington isn't going to solve our problems. So how the president-elect goes from being the concept of the first black president to the actual president who has to make the tough decisions and start being specific is going to be interesting to see in the coming weeks.
And that work has already started today. Elex, thank you. Again, we're taking a look at your pictures there with Jenny Hamill, and we'll check back in with you in the 8 o'clock hour. Thanks for being with us.
All right, thanks, Mark.
All right, thanks for checking in.